Hey everybody, today I'm going to learn about the George Washington of the Philippines. Let's check it out. Emilio Aguinaldo.
He was the one who led Caviteños to victory.
The George Washington of the Philippines. But it's everything but dirty. It's super yummy. And he was one of the big revolutionary leaders. Absolutely fantastic.
Biggest win of the Filipinos against the Spaniards.
This is Mount Vernon and the Independence Hall combined in one. This was the place where the Philippine independence was officially declared. This house is a pretty sizable house.
Most of the fighting because of the revolution happened here in Cavite.
What an interesting museum.
We are the cradle of the revolution.
What ice cream do you have?
Apo.
Which ones?
Green tea.
Green tea?
Apo.
Can I have like a mix?
Apo.
Yeah? All three. Edwin Special. What is the yellow one?
Cheese po.
Cheese?
Apo.
And that's ube? Great. How much is that?
20.
Thank you. A nice dirty ice cream. The reason why they call these dirty ice cream here in the Philippines is because many years ago the mothers didn't want their kids to eat ice cream all the time, so they called it dirty and kind of stuck with the name. But it's everything but dirty. It's super yummy. I'm here at the Aguinaldo Shrine and Museum in Cavite. Emilio Aguinaldo can be considered the George Washington of the Philippines. He was the first president of the Philippines from 1899 to 1901, and he was one of the big revolutionary leaders that contributed to the independence of the country. He fought several wars against the colonializing forces, first against the Spanish, later against the US. Check out this beautiful museum building here that contains the Aguinaldo Museum. This was the building where the Philippine independence was declared on June 12th in 1898. And just behind it is the Aguinaldo Park. It has a few restaurants and places where you can relax. And I'm going to see how we're going to get into that museum. Let's have a look. All right, in front of the shrine. Perfect.
Have a nice day in the Philippines.
Thank you, you too.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing? Okay, I think I found the entrance. Site of the proclamation of the Philippine independence. What a beautiful park. I love the trees here. And this building has obviously seen a lot of history. This place seems to be right underneath one of the main flight paths for the arrival at the international airport, which is not too far from here. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Take care.
Can I ask you,
Yeah.
what was the relationship between Aguinaldo and the Katipunan? He was part of the Katipunan?
Yes, he was part of the Katipunan. He joined the Katipunan in 1895. At first, he was just a member, and then eventually they were allowed to make a council here in Cavite, which they named Magdalo. And then he was one of the leaders of the Magdalo Council here in Cavite. And then when the revolution broke out, he was the one who led the Caviteños to victory, especially during the Battle of Binakayan, which was one of the biggest win of the Filipinos against the Spaniards. It happened in November of 1896, and Aguinaldo was able to fight face-to-face with Governor General Ramon Blanco, the head of the Spaniards here in the Philippines.
Okay. Did he know Bonifacio or?
Well, Bonifacio was the one who initiated him
Yeah.
into the Katipunan.
Okay.
And Bonifacio was the leader of the revolutionaries here, which they established in, I think, 1891. Yeah.
Yeah. So he initiated him, and then at some point in time, he kind of became the leader of
Of the
movement,
revolutionaries
yeah?
here, yes. Because when they started the revolution in Manila in 1896, August, it actually failed, and then it prospered here in Cavite with the leadership of General Emilio Aguinaldo. So that's the time that most of the fighting because of the revolution happened here in Cavite. That's why they actually call us the historical town of Cavite.
Okay.
We are the cradle of the revolution.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So this house, he lived here, or what is the function of this house? It was the house of the Declaration or the Proclamation of the Independence.
It's both.
Both.
Yeah,
It
well-
was his family house first, or?
Actually, this house was built in 1845 by the parents of General Emilio Aguinaldo, Carlos and Trinidad. And then eventually, Aguinaldo was able to inherit this house because it was customary during that time that the youngest boy in the family would get the house and the lot. And Aguinaldo was the seventh of the 8 children, so that's the reason why he got the house and the lot for himself. And then in 1898, this was the time when Aguinaldo declared our independence here in his house and was able to wave the flag for the first time, officially, to declare our independence right at the front. It used to be a window, the balcony, and the balcony was only added in the 1920s. And then in 1963, a year before he passed, he actually donated the house and the lot to the government. So now we are under the National Historical Commission of the Philippines.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
You. Thank you. What an interesting museum. Absolutely fantastic. I would say this is Mount Vernon and the Independence Hall combined in one, because this is the very site where General Aguinaldo lived. This was his family house. At the same time, it's also the place of the Declaration of Independence of the Philippines. And I must say, I really enjoy the museum. It's a very well put together collection of artifacts, lots of explanations of the history of the revolution and the later life of General Aguinaldo. And I really appreciate that everything's put together in English so you can really follow the narrative. This house is a pretty sizable house. I would say it's comparable to Mount Vernon. It's definitely not smaller. So this balcony was initially a window. The balcony was added later, but this was the place where the Philippine independence was officially declared in 1898. Pretty cool. The interior of this place is absolutely amazing. There are so many references to the revolution of the Philippines, and even the architectural details that have been added later by Aguinaldo make reference to the history of the revolution. You can see it in the architectural details of the ceilings, where some of the symbols of the revolution have been marked. I also enjoyed the ceiling where the map of the Philippines is laid out, with Cavite marked in red as sort of the center point of the revolution. I understand There have been some additions made to this house in the early 20th century, but nevertheless, what a beautiful estate. And it's very well maintained, pristine garden. I love the trees here. Beautiful. So I had already learned a little bit about Bonifacio, of Rizal of course, but I wasn't aware about the linkages between Aguinaldo and Bonifacio. Bonifacio was, of course, the leader of the Katipunan, and he was the one who initiated Aguinaldo into the Katipunan. And Aguinaldo led some of the most fundamental battles against the Spanish here in Cavite. I learned that a lot of the independence struggle actually happened around here. Many of the battles against the Spanish happened here, and I understand the Spanish suffered quite a few pretty sizable defeats here. Another thing I learned here, which I thought was interesting, is that the fight against the Spanish was considered a revolution, because at the time the Philippines had not yet been an independent state. But later the struggle against the US was an outright war, because by the time the US arrived here, the Philippines were already an independent nation with a government, a constitution, and thus this was no longer a revolution, this was a war between two sovereign nations. General Aguinaldo is also buried here. So similar again to George Washington, who's buried in Mount Vernon, Aguinaldo is buried here in his estate. Check out these little roofed structures with the seats here. I'm not quite sure what this is, but it looks like the most beautiful picnic area I've seen. The entrance to the museum and shrine is free, so you can come anytime between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. and I would definitely encourage you to check out this place. I certainly learned a lot about Filipino history, and I think it's just a really nice and serene place to visit. I think the best way to come here is just to take a taxi or a Grab. It will take you about 25 to 30 minutes depending on traffic, and especially if you're coming on a weekend, you want to come here early in the morning to beat the traffic, because it's the same route that many of the people in Manila take to spend their weekend in Tagaytay. So yeah, check it out. It's definitely worth it, and not too far away from Manila. Okay, thank you so much.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thank you. This was great. What a nice museum.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for welcoming me.
Yes, you're always welcome. Everyone's welcome at the Aguinaldo Shrine.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so that was my little tour here to the Aguinaldo Shrine and Museum in Cavite. Definitely worth a trip. I put the details of the location down in the description below. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. And if you haven't done so yet, please also check out my other videos on the beautiful Philippines and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell to get updates on my latest videos. And I hope I see you next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.